Council meeting of June 10th, 2024. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Here.
Salvia, Hauser,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
King,
Here.
Sage,
Here.
Trent.
Here.
Thank you. Would you now please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, on this beautiful night. First, we're going to go to public comment. And first, we'd like to introduce, we have a new judge who's been appointed to the bench in the district court.
Correct.
And it's Judge Laura Polizzi. She just has been on the bench for 2 weeks, and she's here. So, one, we want to welcome you and give you a chance to say hi to our Rochester community and introduce yourself. So, welcome, Judge.
Thank you. I'm Judge Polizzi, everyone.
By the microphone? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Judge Laura Polizzi. Yes, I've been on the bench for about 2 weeks. I received an appointment, and I practiced law for the better part of a decade. I practice in the Tri-County area, so I represented a ton of people. I have 2 young children. I've lived in Rochester with my husband for quite some time, and I grew up here, went to part of elementary school and middle school here, as well as I went to Oakland University, and I went to Cooley Law School in Auburn Hills, so I'm really familiar with the area and spent most of my life in this area. So everybody's been very welcoming, and I really appreciate the opportunity I was given to serve the people. So I look forward to making the court more approachable, a friendlier place, helping people, you know, who have done things that land them in court, helping them get through those things and better their lives. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Next, we have a presentation of a resolution in recognizing the Oakland University basketball team. So this is a fun thing to do. So first we had, and I think it came about from that Oakland making the NCAA tournament and then beating Kentucky, which was pretty exciting. And I will say personally, out-coaching John Calipari. But, that's my personal opinion. So we have a resolution tonight recognizing the Oakland University basketball team. I'll just read it briefly. Whereas head coach Greg Campy and the Oakland University men's basketball team demonstrated excellence throughout their amazing and historical 2023-24 season. And where Coach Campy, who was enshrined in the American Basketball Hall of Fame in 2023, entered his 40th season at the helm of the men's basketball team and became the longest tenured coach at one school at the Division I level. Whereas Coach Kempe led Oakland University to its first ever Horizon League tournament title and won the Horizon League outright for the first time since joining the league. And whereas Coach Kempe has 699 career wins, placing him in the top 10 for most wins by active D1 coaches. Whereas Coach Kempe has coached 5 NBA players in the last 14 years and now has seen a player earn first-team league honors for the 18th straight season. Whereas Coach Kempe coached the Golden Grizzlies to his first round of 64 win this season for his second Power 6 win. And where Coach Kempe and the Oakland University men's basketball team achievements were the culmination of their collective commitment and team spirit. Whereas the Rochester City Council joins the community in expressing this pride. I read in the paper that Coach just signed a new 2-year contract, so he's going to be here unless the Los Angeles Lakers are calling, because I hear they're looking for college coaches these days, so you might be next in line. And I think it was $70 million for 6 years, but that's probably not enough to leave here. So therefore, be resolved that the Rochester City Council expresses its sincere appreciation to head coach Greg Campy and the Oakland University's men's basketball team. So, Coach, congratulations.
Dr. Banner.
Oh.
You don't be taking pictures. It'll be, the hands will be cut off.
thank you for having this. Steve Waterfield, our athletic director, who runs the whole show. And not only did my basketball team do well.
Can you, by the mic, please? Thank you.
You already told somebody that. It's like my team, they don't listen that well sometimes. You know, Steve oversees our athletic department, and this week we found out that for the 7th time in the 11 years that we've been in the Horizon League, we won the McCaffrey Cup, which is the overall best program, best athletic department. We won more championships than everybody else. So it was a banner year for our athletic department, an unbelievable year for our team. I don't know, about 70 million. It'd take a lot to get me to leave after 40 years, but 70 million.
I think about it, I agree with you.
So, but as a member of Oakland University staff for 40 years, this community has meant so much to myself and my family that it'd be hard to ever leave. But I'm so thankful to have been someone that, you know, had my children grow up here and lived here, and it's been just great for me. And I find myself and believe that I'm one of the luckiest people around to be able to survive 40 years at one school, and also to coach the kids that we coach. Because, yeah, as you said, I don't know how much out-coaching we did, but we sure outplayed them. And our kids deserve all the credit for that. So thank you so much for awarding us this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the AD for coming as well. We appreciate it. All right, next is a presentation of the history of the leader dog for the blind and the city of Rochester. So another institution in town coming up. So Melissa, come on up. Introduce yourself.
Yes.
I'll use the mic. Good evening, everyone. My name is Melissa Wise. I'm the president and CEO of Leader Dogs for the Blind. Very proud to follow Oakland University. We have a strong collaboration with OU, with puppy raisers on campus who raise throughout the campus, and their dogs go on to serve clients in Spain and all over the United States. So very grateful to OU for that partnership. Thank you. So, Leader Dogs for the Blind and Rochester. Many of you might know us as the organization on the corner of Rochester and Avon, or our training building right on Walnut. And we have been here since 1939. And when you think of us, you probably think of dogs, puppies, future leader dogs, but we actually are a human service organization, and we are one of the largest blindness-related organizations in the world, founded right here in Rochester, and we are so grateful for that partnership with you. So I'm eager to tell you a little bit about that and show you some pictures. I had to send this over in a PDF, so if I could just ask if you'd go to the next slide, please.
I think you can do it.
Okay.
I think you can, yeah. Should be. Yep, it'll work.
Here we are, established 1939. This was the corner of Rochester and Avon in 1939, kind of a bucolic orchard with apple fields, apple trees. This is our home. Really, this is where we started, and at that time it was a bucolic place far from the city of Detroit, where 3 lions, whom you see here, founded Leader Dogs for the Blind.
Wait, Melissa, that might be Coach Campy. You're on the left there.
See, Coach, I'm always the one who gets those kind of comments. Glad you're here.
Thanks for staying.
Well, the mayor's
staying,
actually next to him, yeah.
So we were founded by members of Lions Clubs International, and lions remain a very significant part of Leader Dogs for the Blind today. This was around the time of really World War II. So what you would have seen at this time when the guide dog movement was starting globally was that people were exiting the military, dog handlers in the military, and coming into what was a very new field, guide dog work globally. So this was one of the very first organizations of its sort. From that small building, you'll be able to, I don't know if I'm going in the right way here. So you'll be able to see here, this is our campus, kind of a look at it in the 1950s. And this is Leader Dogs for the Blind today. an aerial view of just a few weeks ago. We are on 200,000 square feet of building space and 4,000 acres right there. So what was once that bucolic field has become a very large organization. When we were founded, this site was just that small farm I showed you, and it was purchased for $1 and the assumption of a mortgage. So from that, additional land was acquired to make that, I'm sorry I misspoke, 14-acre campus today. I kind of made it a little bigger, Nick. The first class graduated in October of 1939. So really just the war years, at the cost of $600 per client. Today, that cost per dog is $120,000 for Leader Dogs for the Blind. And that service is provided completely free of charge to each and every person that comes for our service provision. There are tremendous barriers throughout the country and the world for people who are visually impaired. This is one of very, very few options for people. Again, not a dog business, but a people business, serving people who may have had lack of access to services, whether that be low vision skills or mobility. They're coming here. The program is free of charge. Your transportation is free of charge. Your room and board is free of charge. So all the people that you see training here have come at no cost. And we do that deliberately because many people who are blind or visually impaired or underemployed and often have no access to other service provision. So we really expanded our services in 1992 to become an even larger organization. Sorry, I'm doing a bit of a dodgy job of clicking on this. Doesn't seem to be going forward. I don't know where I should click.
Jeremy, you want to, Jeremy?
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate the support.
Oh, you're great.
So, yeah.
We should be able to, usually this might be easier, yeah. So you
Just-
just use
yeah,
left and right,
just
just
use
forward
that,
and
okay.
back, that'll make it,
Let's
that'll
see.
be the easy way.
So, thank you. Perfect. So here is again that farmhouse in 1939 and our administration building today. And you'll see clients of the time were exceedingly well dressed. It was typically suit and tie and dresses. The original dogs for the work were Dobermans or boxers. We didn't really move into Labradors and Golden Retrievers until much later because, again, that work was military guide dog handlers, German Shepherds. Many of those dogs are perceived to be relatively aggressive. Even though we know a German Shepherd isn't, people don't feel as comfortable as they would with a Labrador or a Golden Retriever entering into a store. So we find we use today Labradors, Goldens, or a cross thereof. We really broke out into doing somewhat our groundbreaking services since that time. We have, you probably have seen people navigating with a white cane. That is a precursor to working with a dog, or somebody might stay and work without a dog and solely that white cane. We try to really give people the choice of what modality works best for them. Again, some people can't handle a very large breed dog, but they want that independence and have no other means of mobility. So here's a view of our canine center in the 1970s and what it is today, this $14.5 million project that we finished in 2016 that can house up to 300 dogs and puppies and is centered around a veterinary clinic. And I would invite any of you to come and visit our campus. On our campus, we have a veterinary clinic that is regarded as one of the finest of its sort in service dog provision globally. Many of you may know Dr. Smith, who's been there for close to 40 years. We do all of our own breeding. We work with geneticists and theriogenologists who are specialists in that canine lineage that's going to produce the optimal guide dog. We're looking for a very specific dog that will lead out in downtown Madrid or Manhattan, but will sit quietly under your desk if you're a judge at the bench. And we had a longtime judge, Paul Taranas, who was on our board, worked with the leader dog ever since he was in law school, I think in the 50s. And the dog would just sit under the bench. He'd walk off home afterwards. So we serve people from many different professions. Here's a view of our residence in the 1940s and what it is today. We have in this administration building a residential facility with rooms where people stay. All room and board, again, is free of charge. We have a culinary facility, an entire banquet center there that provides all the food for our clients while they're with us. This is something that's traumatic. Blindness and vision loss is trauma. We have people who are in various stages of vision loss, and coming here and being comfortable where you stay and having the very best of service provision matters greatly. Here's our downtown Walnut Street building I was speaking to earlier. This actually hasn't changed too much, and that's going to be one of our next projects to freshen this space. You may wonder what we do there. Whilst our residence and our Canine Center is up at Rochester and Avon, this is where we will train down in downtown Rochester. So we have simulated seats that simulate an airplane environment that people can practice in. We have our garages where we bring our training vehicles, and what you'll see here is dogs in the very early stages of training all the way up to being issued to a client, as well as people who are blind or visually impaired practicing with their guide dog mobility instructors. And you'll see some of our programs that we offer today. So from that small farmhouse, what was a very small team, we are now 191 team members and a $21 million budget that's raised solely through philanthropy. And we're so grateful for the support of the community in that. We have a teen summer camp that's just about to get started with people who come to us from all around the country for a leadership building experience. You'll see them downtown. They'll be doing magical mystery tours on the streets of Rochester to orient themselves. We offer a teen O&M camp that helps young people learn orientation and mobility skills. You'll see this young fellow in blue shirt and a cane. This young man was hit by a distracted driver who crossed the median. 18 surgeries later, he has lost his sight and his hearing. We were the only place in the country that would serve him. He came here for summer camp, our teen orientation and mobility experience with the white cane, and was just given a dog. So those are the kind of stories that are happening just up at the corner of Rochester and Avon really every day. Our orientation and mobility program, you'll see here the different types of canes we teach with. This is a very important skill. There are not enough people in the country, orientation and mobility instructors, or guide dog mobility instructors in the world. People often say, is your holdup the number of dogs? No, there's not enough professionals in this space to do the work for this tremendous need nationwide. You'll see here our guide dog program. I don't know, it looks like maybe they're headed towards the corner bar there. I'm not sure what street that is, but that is Eric Rodman, who heads our apprentice program, looking at Caleb Railsbach, who's a young university student coming here for some brush-up work, crossing a street and practicing with a truck. We have one of our longtime clients hiking and someone navigating an office space. We have people really navigating with guide dogs all around the globe today. And that command is forward, and that client dog team will head out into the unknown. And often in the mornings, I live on Helen, I will come up to the intersection of Rochester and Avon, which in the morning is increasingly a very crowded intersection. And you will see, even in the twilight, the early morning light, guide dog clients crossing that street to come to work in the morning. And I think that says something extraordinary. The courage you learn here, whether you're crossing a road in Rochester or Madrid or Honolulu, you're learning here in Rochester. And people are talking about it nationwide, which excites us tremendously. Last week, we had people from 5 different countries, Australia, New Zealand, France, UK, coming here to collaborate on the best practices in service dog provision. So something you can always think about, and I hope you'll take from this brief chat we're having this evening, please consider raising a puppy for us. You can take a small puppy at 7 weeks of age and give that puppy that foundational first year of life before it comes back to leader dog to be a fully trained, highly trained leader dog. We have different models. You can do that as a one household family. You can co-raise with a friend, pass along, do first 6 months or last 6 months. Perhaps your business wants to do that. We also have campus programs, and I hope this one won't appeal to each of you, the prison program, but we do have correctional facilities around Michigan that raise puppies, which is, I have to tell you, one of the more incredible aspects of our work. It reduces recidivism. You will see grown men who have never been perhaps trusted with anything, weeping, giving these small dogs back. And what we see is amazing dogs coming out of those facilities. At Macomb, they spend an hour and a half every day with little puppies training them. So when they come back, it's a great full circle story. So we'd love for you to be a part of that. And also we have a breeding program where you can host a breeding mom or a breeding dad in your home. Hosting the dad is a little bit easier. Hosting the mom, you have the full litter for 7 weeks in your home, but you get all of our support. And each of those things is so meaningful to us. I mentioned the need being so great. Today we announced that in addition to our international services, we are now providing all of our services in both Spanish and English, whether that is our orientation and mobility, our guide dog work, or even our work in sign language for people who are both deaf and blind. So I hope that what you take from our brief time together this evening is that this Leader Dog is not only a national organization, it's a global organization that has been grown and tended to and stewarded and loved by the people of Rochester. And we are very grateful for that we can train on the streets downtown, that so many people from this community are volunteers or puppy raisers, support our clients who are navigating the streets of downtown. Thank you for being such a part of our combined history, Rochester and Leader Dogs for the Blind. Please come up and visit us. Thank you. And I'll pause and ask if anyone has a question. Thank you. Any questions I can
Questions,
answer?
council, any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for
having
coming.
me.
Thanks a lot.
And we love the fact you live in Rochester.
Oh, thank you. I love it too.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comment tonight? Pat Kane, come on up. Welcome.
Thanks. Patricia Kane, 817 West 4th Street. I want to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank administration and the City Council for the honor that you bestowed on my husband. Much appreciated. And I want to give some public thank yous to some important people I thought that at the time of need really went above and beyond and stepped up. Leanne O'Connor, who picked the grave site because I was incapable at the time of doing it and was kind enough to pick the most perfect spot. But her words to me, I wanted to lift a burden for you, and she did that. To Jason, DPW, who says, here is my cell phone and I'm available to you at any hour because my work hours at the time when I had to go back to work and his just don't mesh, but took the calls and immediately would call back at 7 o'clock at night or 6 so we could take care of business, the side of it. I'd like to thank the City Council and those people for their presence. It meant a lot to me. Other people, definitely Nancy Salvia's well-timed hug, Christian Hauser's letter, Marilyn Trent for stepping up and putting in 4 saplings that were ordered for our anniversary that I had nursed on my porch for 2 full months, and I told her tonight they're still alive, blessed by the grace of God. For Steve Sage for being there my first day in hospice with my husband, for the hours you sat. It made a difference. It really does. It's all these small things that add up. I want to thank the United States Postal Service for shoveling snow when I wasn't even aware of it, coming at 7 in the morning and giving me a call because they knew I'd be at Beaumont by 8. The neighborhood, people, too many to mention on Castell and Taylor that we've known for years, stopping by with everything and anything imaginable and kept me in homemade soup and salads and foods and anything they could do. To the 392 people that sent cards and to Ed, wishing him well, wishing him retirement with prayers. To another, almost the same amount of cards that came to me in condolences and offering their help from this community with many I don't even know. To Dave Zemmons for his kind words and presence. To Ann Peterson, who's been a long time with this journey. To Kim Russell, Jeff Russell, definitely Ann Peterson, who has stood beside me for a lot of this with Ed. I want to thank Chief Rohib for his kind words and reaching out with an email. Chief Schettenhelm and Jenny with a letter that I will treasure for the rest of my life. There are so many countless people that stood up and helped at a time when everything was falling apart to make me feel safe and whole. To Chief Cieslik, who has called several times checking on me because he's been in same or similar. It meant a lot. There are businesses that stepped up when things went haywire at home, like a hot water heater in the middle of everything, but like a car. And the boys from Firestone with Corey saying they're here for anything. I want to tell you that the United States Postal Service in this area has done so much for me that they will forever have my respect. That is Stacy Eisen Barker, who helped lead the ceremony. Definitely the postmaster, Robert Collier. And definitely the day I came home from work with a notice in the mailbox after the post office is closed telling me I had a package to sign for, which was my husband. Thinking that, oh my gosh, he's gonna spend a night where he worked for 56 years, 2 months and 12 days, kind of broke my heart, but kind of made me chuckle. As I walked in the house, the phone was ringing. It was the United States Post Office from Rochester saying, will you give us permission to sign? And I said yes. Their words to me, the United States Post Office wants to bring Ed home. And they did after hours with their truck. And then had the courtesy, they did stay with me. So what I want to say is this community has a lot of heart. And at a time when there is need, it pulls together just like it did many, many years ago with a lot of care and concern coming from all different areas, and some you don't even expect. There are people that reached out that I still don't really know them. They came from the government of Rochester Hills and Oakland Township. They came through just knowing Ed from work, people delivering special food that he needed prior to his last hospitalization, people taking all my donations for charity after, because with the cast and everything going on, I didn't have time, but I wanted to get everything placed, and just doing it without any expectation. So publicly, I want to acknowledge everybody for everything they did and thank the city for all of their accommodations and everything that they did to make things easier for me. So thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Any other public comment? Brian, anything? Are you there, Brian?
Does it matter that that's the PDF and not on the Zoom?
I don't know.
No.
Well, I'll assume there's not anybody there right now. Is Brian up there? Supposed to be. Brian?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now we can.
Oh,
No.
yes, there are no callers online at this time.
Thank you, Brian. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 28th, 2024.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Sage. Support by Councilmember Jones. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is approval of the consent agenda. First is a consideration to approve the Greater Rochester Open Tennis Tournament, Rah-Rah's signature event, in my opinion. Next is a consideration to approve the Uplifting Music in the Park event. Next is a consideration to approve the International Student Welcoming Gathering event. And is consideration of a request to award information services and cybersecurity contract to Global Solutions Group, Inc. for $57,702.80. Council.
I would make a motion to approve line items 6A, B, C, and D, sir.
Motion by Councilmember Hauser,
No support.
support by Councilmember Trent. Is there discussion? Councilmember King.
Are you playing in the tournament?
I am.
Are you?
Awesome.
Oh,
I am.
I didn't know that. Well, congratulations.
Not that I expect special favors.
Doing that.
Well, one takes whatever one can get. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. There is no old business or tabled items tonight, no public hearing, no legislative deliberation. Reports and regular business. First is a consideration for approval of the installation of the West Fourth and Walnut Crosswalk mural. Taylor is here from the DDA along with Council DDA Director Joe Vanelli,
known as, right?
who's also going to talk about the Graham project as well.
Good evening, council. I'm here in support of our art committee chair, Taylor Knuth. Is going to present an exciting opportunity that we've come across in downtown, so I'll let her take that and run away with it. After that, I figured since I was here, we're already on the agenda, I'll provide a brief update on the Graham as well. So Taylor, take it away.
Thanks, Ben. And thank you, everyone, for having me here today. As Ben mentioned, we're here today with the purpose of seeking approval for what we're calling our crosswalk mural project. But before we get into approval of the artwork and the project itself, I just want to provide some background and hopefully to build some understanding of how we got here with this particular project. So it was at last year, the DDA board, during their goals and objectives conversation, decided that they would like to take on art as a new initiative and oversight of the board. We currently at the DDA have many events and promotions that are art related, whether that be our Deck Art event, Rochester No Filter, Magical Mural Tour, Snowman Stroll, just to name a few. But from those events and promotions, we see the impact and benefit that art can have on our community. And so therefore we sought to expand upon our offerings, offering more opportunities for the community to connect but also create. It was in last spring that we formed what we're calling our Love Local Art Committee. We invited different members of our DDA community as well as members of art organizations in Rochester to join us for the conversation. I'm sure you recognize a few names on the screen there. It was in those initial committee meetings that we really spent a lot of time focusing on what our goals and intentions would be for the committee, discussing different art forms, different art locations, and ultimately what we wanted to accomplish. So it was in one of our first meetings that we decided to walk around town, simply identify what areas would be most impactful, and once again, what art forms we wanted to pursue. Through the conversation, we spent a lot of time discussing the intersection at West 4th and Walnut and that corridor as a whole. Something that continually came up was the new business growth that we've seen in this area. There's several different new businesses along Walnut that I think are inviting more traffic just a block off of Main that we're excited to see and want to give more people give more reasons for people to hang out in these areas. There's lots of great canvases, so to speak, in this area, whether it be the two pocket parks along Walnut, the parking structure itself, or the areas in between we all saw as potential for opportunity. And lastly, West 4th Street, as many of you know, is an area that is activated by the DDA quite often, whether it's our Kris Kringle Market, Dancing in the Streets, or our upcoming Makers Market event. That is a street that we utilize and could see any art form being installed in here as an additional attraction to our events, as we are all already welcoming visitors into town. It was in these discussions that we brought out inspirational photos, talked about things that we liked and we didn't like. And one that came to mind out of our Rolodex of ideas was a photo that actually Christy, right Director, Christy Chavarro, took at the 2019 Main Street Now conference in Seattle. I think we were on our way to lunch. We were kind of adventuring just outside of the downtown Seattle corridor and happened upon this crosswalk here. This crosswalk mural, its intention is actually to bring more safety measures to this particular intersection, bringing more awareness to pedestrian traffic and the bike lanes and such. But for us as Main Streeters, we just thought it was a really nice excite and delight as we were in an area that we might normally not have visited or traveled to. It gave us further reason to want to explore and venture around the area that we were seeing. Cut forward to the fall of last year, Main Street Oakland County put out a call alongside with Flagstar Bank for a placemaking grant. They were offering a $2,500 matching grant funds to help facilitate different placemaking projects. Amongst the committee, we decided that the crosswalk mural might be a project of submission, as the budget in order to create this was pretty low, and so those matching funds would go a long way in order to bring this to our community. It was at that time I submitted for that particular project, as well as at that particular intersection at West 4th and Walnut, and we were delighted to hear that we were a recipient of that $2,500 matching grant. It was at that time that we spent the next few months researching best practices, logistical options, and just discussing what we wanted to see amongst the committee, ideas, artists, and overall execution. Ultimately, we decided to hire a professional mural artist, which enter our new friend, Rhiannon Sibold. Rhiannon is our contracted artist for this particular project. Rhiannon's resume includes a fine arts degree, several years in creative roles, most importantly 5 years as a mural artist. Her portfolio particularly includes a couple different works that I think lends itself to this particular project. You're seeing an activity lot in Grand Rapids, as well as some sidewalk art that both she has created. So along with that experience, as well as her vibrant expression, we felt she was an appropriate fit for this project. Rhiannon's proposal in total will cost $5,500, $3,000 coming from the DDA and $2,500 coming from Main Street, Oakland County. Of course, when talking with this project, at all times, people's next question is, what materials are you using, and the maintenance for something of this nature, which is understandable. So included on this slide, Rhiannon will plan to use what's considered a traffic marking paint. It's formulated to essentially withstand road traffic, UV index, salt application, and more. As far as our understanding goes, this is the best material for this designated project. It has a 1-year guarantee provided by Sherwin-Williams. We've also talked to our representative, who believes that it truly will be another 2 to 3 years before we see wear and tear on that traffic marking paint. As well, through conversations with Rhiannon, she's provided us some case study here, so you'll see the two photos to the left and the right. The left is her work when it initially, after it was installed in July of 2023. The photo to the right is May of 2024. You might just see some slight variation in the color, but overall, the art remains the same. Rhiannon also included just some details on that case study, that while this lot does not see regular street traffic over the course of the year, it has hosted several citywide events, all of which included heavy machinery, vehicles, and foot traffic moving back and forth and across the lot. It was plowed and salted all throughout the winter. It faces harsh UV exposure daily and still maintains a lot of vibrancy. So we like to see that we're using the correct things in order to execute this particular project. As well, Rhiannon did quote us with some maintenance costs if we deem, say, a year from now that the mural is not to par, that we are happy to bring her back and touch up the mural as needed. Additionally, it can wash away, so we could, revisit this project, contract a new artist if we felt under the DDA's overview. In pursuit of this project, we've sent out a lot of communication to all department heads pertaining to the project and an in-depth discussion with Chief George regarding concerns for safety. That is included in your packets, so I'll refer there to his just opinion on the matter. But in addition to Chief George's thoughts, in pursuit of researching this project and making sure that we're conducting best practices, I had done some research myself and came across a study provided by an organization called Bloomberg Philanthropies. Conducted a study that was specific to crosswalk art and traffic safety. Their findings were that there was a 50% decrease in the rate of crashes involving pedestrian or other vulnerable road users, 25% decrease in pedestrian crossings involving a conflict with drivers. While I don't think we might have this issue at West 4th and Walnut, I'll just say I do think it builds additional confidence in knowing that we might see an added benefit to taking on this project. Okay, now for the fun part. Through conversations with Rhiannon, as mentioned, the mural project is really rooted in safety traffic concern. It's really not meant to be very detailed or message focused. So there was a lot of conversation around it just being black colors, bold, really just to bring some vibrancy to the corridor that we're referring to. But we did have a lot of conversations specific to Rochester. Before you today, I bring DDA's recommendation of selected artwork. There was 3 options, which is included in the packet, and I'm happy to scroll through on screen. But this is the art that DDA is recommending for installation. Our artist mentions this artwork being bold, fun, imaginative flowers, approachable, straightforward, a friendly concept, and a display of her signature style of artwork. If approved for this project, our intention is to begin installation on Monday, June 17th, with the intention to invite the community to view the new mural starting June 22nd at our downtown Rochester Makers Market event. For anyone that's unfamiliar, we closed down West 4th Street to invite 40+ artists and vendors and small businesses to sell their wares. We plan to have entertainment, food trucks, a kids craft. We also plan to welcome Rhiannon, our artists on site, to talk with the community, educate them on public art, her inspirations, her process and installation. So we hope that we can invite everyone to join us for that day. But overall, I appreciate your time and thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
So Council, we have this proposal from the DDA. Is there, Councilmember Trent?
No, yeah, I have seen it. This is the 3rd time. Thank you for this presentation and all the hard work and all the thoughtfulness and the research that you've done. As mentioned at the last meeting that we had, the special meeting we had, because we're trying to get this project moving forward, I do love the fact that about public art. I am totally for public art. That is my background. The murals and the artwork that you've done around town, the no filter deck art, the murals that you also have on Main Street. It is vibrant, it's fun, I like what you've chosen. However, the location concerns me. I'm not sure if it's the best location. I do think that when you mentioned the pocket parks, we've talked about activating those. They need some love. They could use that activation, or even along the parking structure where you've got that path there between the alley and Walnut is more connected, maybe not as visible, but the corner park is. Then there's also the Tivoli lights that were supposed to have been put in, and they have not. The thing that my concern is distraction, but I thank you for bringing that up, because I've seen and read, and I did my research, I've read 2 sides of that. With that, I would approve it with the artwork, but I am not ready to approve the location at this time.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Councilmember Sage?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I remember back when I was on the DDA for a short time, there was a program that the DDA did to support refurbishment of the alley and entrance to businesses. I don't know if that's still in place.
I don't believe it's still in place at this time, no.
Okay. So, and we've debated it here many times of ways to make the alleys not more accessible, but also more desirable. And I would propose possibly picking an alley and working on those around town as an ideal spot to add some vibrancy.
That location has come up, and I think that is a good potential location. I don't know for the particular on the pavement project, just because of the wear and tear that the alleys encounter. We get garbage, grease spills, you know, all kinds of debris that happen there was part of that discussion with that location. But I think the alley is a great opportunity for future projects, and that was, you know, part of the committee's conversation at some point.
Okay,
Anybody else?
Well, if I may.
Councilmember Hauser.
I think the concept is fantastic, and I think anything that we can do to brighten up certain areas in town and to do so, I think it's wonderful. But I think for me, it's more about the maintenance and what it's gonna look like in 16 months, in 19 months. You know what I'm saying? And it's that slow erosion of the vibrancy that we have right here, you know, and I appreciate it that, you know, the person will come back out and they'll make some changes and enhancements to it, but let's be candid, it's gonna be a lot of traffic, there's gonna be a use.
Yeah.
And how do we maintain that aesthetic that we have the standard that's here, and then it starts to spall or peel or fade, et cetera, and then it kind of looks like a, you know, it doesn't look as good as we had hoped it would be. And then what's the lifespan? Do we say, okay, after 21 months, we get the paint thinner out and start cleaning it up, or what? That's kind of my concern. And those are questions I have, frankly, is how do we maintain that it looks pristine as much as we can for as long as we can?
Yeah, for sure. So we did talk about this in depth at DDA. Worst case scenario, we just power wash it away. I mean,
Right.
it's latex paint. It's not going to be, you know, something that's going to be require, you know. But the DDA's commitment is to make sure that I don't think we've ever let anybody down here with respect to making sure the downtown is vibrant, bright, and exciting. So this is a project that the art committee has spent a great deal of work on, and because of the area where we happen to activate a lot of events, that's the main reason why it was chosen. We did talk about the alleys, and the main reason we didn't do the alleys is precisely what Taylor's talking about, is the traffic, truck traffic, delivery traffic, and dragging garbage in and out, because you've got garbage packers going in there and pulling stuff out of the dumpsters and yanking them out. So we thought from a traffic standpoint of the heavy-duty stuff driving across all the time, it was a little bit rougher to do it there. The point about working on the alleys, that's continually in goals and objectives. It just didn't happen to be on the thing for this year, but we've always been working on that. So I don't know if that helps you at all. But like I said, you know, this is not a situation where we're going to go ahead and do a project, just walk away with it and just chuck the keys to the city and say, here we go.
And Ben, if that came across that way, it was not the intent. I know you guys do everything first class, and that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm just, again, being practical and realistic. There's always going to be a life of the part, or a time frame that we've got to deal with here. And I just want to make sure that if something like this is going to be on a right of way, at a crosswalk, at a predominant intersection in town, that it looks good today, tomorrow, and then 8, 12, 14 months.
I can give you my promise as the chair of the Downtown Development Authority that we will do everything in our power to make it as beautiful as possible for as long as you guys let us have it up.
Does this, and this may be a question for the mayor or maybe the city attorney, does the city council, if they were to approve something like this, does it also reserve the right to say, okay, it's time to take it down? Or do we have to wait for DDA
We serve
to
at
make
your
that?
pleasure, so if you
Okay.
say it's time to put a bullet in it, I'm sure we'll go ahead and take care of it. I'll refer back to Chief George's memo. He's, you know, in terms of just sort of us going through, and Taylor and her team have done a really good job to make sure we dotted all the i's and crossed the t's before we came to present this to you. But, you know, the safety issue is enhanced in the area. There's a lot of foot traffic there now. And like I said, the main reason we want to do it in this area is because that is where we activate a lot of events in downtown, is in that particular intersection, and it'll get a lot of play, so to speak.
If I can add, I think the opportunity almost to, the part that art becomes exciting is, I think, when it becomes new and it's changing and we keep visitors like expecting something different or looking for new and inviting. So if anything, that maybe presents a exciting challenge for our committee to continually work on projects, evolve it, start over, whatever it might be.
I have,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, so,
Councilmember Trent.
yes, thank you. on this, I don't see the crosswalk that you had. I think it's the next slide.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this here, this has been an issue for people trying to figure out where to cross, you know, after the parking structures were built, and that's what created the parking, pocket park here, was here. So the
that'll
other
be helpful.
concern I have, are people gonna stop here now, or are they gonna go over this and look to left or right? And that is the problem. I mean, it's not fixing that problem. If you ask me, it's making it more obvious that that is not usually where you cross the street with a four-way stop.
I'm not a traffic study person, I'm the chief of police, so they might have an opinion,
I'm
but
just saying.
as far as sort of delineating a crosswalk, I mean, it's pretty clear. I would think that would be helpful. I don't know if that's the answer that you were looking for or not, but it seems to me that it's kind of like outlining it more.
Well, it's where you stop your car. You're talking about people in two-ton vehicles, so that is my concern as well.
Councilmember Sage?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I know we had talked too about the streets directly parallel to Main Street when we started the Main Street makeover. And we were always with the intent, future was to develop those corridors as well. I'd love to see it tied in exactly like Main Street where we have that faux brick so that it creates an entire downtown to where it increases traffic then to those parallel roads, myself.
Councilmember Jones?
I agree. I feel like the location doesn't connect to anything. So I love the ideas that have kind of been thrown out. I don't know if it's something you go back and look at some other locations, but I like the idea of next to the parking structures, bringing some vibrancy. I feel like that has been a big miss for us, that we aren't developing those areas as a gathering spot. So I agree with either the alley, and I mean, I assume these corners, because I drive it all the time, are getting a lot more truck traffic and such than the alleys would be or equal to. So I just would like a look at maybe some other locations.
Councilmember Trent, do you have a further comment?
We've got an alley situation here. One is the alleys that are behind the stores, and one or two alleys next to the parking structure. And next to the parking structure, those alleys are not, there's no traffic on those. So I just would like to define when we're talking about alleys too, as well.
Those are ag sidewalks, that's the problem.
Those are sidewalks.
Yeah, that was the other issue that came up, is when you apply it, it has to be sort of a asphalt black flat, because if you have any kind of aggregate, the paint won't stick to it very well, and it'll cause precisely what,
Mr. Banda, what are the aggregate sidewalks? Is it the,
Between the deck and the buildings.
over by where the corner bar is there?
So that's what we did, that's not thinking about.
There's still
this,
a
but you
path
could-
through it.
Yeah,
But there's still a path, right?
yeah, there's still a path. I don't know.
So the entire alley is not usable?
Well, the walkways between,
walkways.
next to the decks are ag, they're just sidewalks, so you could have put this on those.
But you could put it on the alley.
You could put it on the alley.
Or the side of
Agree, though, the alley, we talked about the alley in detail. Ask the people that are next to the alley, every week we're putting sawdust down. The alleys are abused. We can't even keep the white stripe and the red on there because the trucks constantly every day turning in and loading and unloading. So it sounds nice, but we couldn't even keep tennis coating on those. We're gonna try it again. But that would take way more abuse than just driving on it,
It's
so.
ag or something. I don't know.
Is there further comments?
Sarah has something.
Oh, Councilmember King?
This is, the first that I've seen it, and I don't have a terribly strong opinion, but I look at this and it looks a little out of place to me, and that's my personal view. I'm also not a big art aficionado. I'm not an art expert by any means. I just don't see how, the design chosen kind of ties in with Rochester and our community, and having it in one location just feels like we're throwing something on the ground a little bit in this one area. I think having a more thought out I'd rather see like a more thought out plan if we're gonna do something like this, where it would be more throughout the city. So it's not just like, hey, we threw some paint on the ground in one area. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but I just, it's my personal view. And I think the alley, had that been an option, could have been a place, like, there's an alley in Detroit, if anybody's been down
Z
by
Alley.
the Z lot.
Yeah.
The Bell Alley there, where there's a ton of artwork. It's a really cool space, and it's kind of very cohesive because there's a lot in that one area versus, you know, kind of just some, paint on the crosswalk, I'm sorry.
So, any further?
No.
So, council, is there?
Here, can I throw in one more thing? So, you gotta start somewhere. This is $2,500. This is a matching grant. We test it, we see how it works, it can be power washed off, and then we go on to the next one. It's not a big ask. This is like, we thought of a whole bunch of things, and there is no perfect spot, there is no perfect thing. So as a starting point, we have the Roxy. We have tons of people going between the Corner Bar, Main Street, to the Roxy, to Leader Dogs, to the bank property. So again, a very activated space. We use it all the time. It's not a huge investment, and it's a good test pattern to see how it works out. And again, Chairman Joe, we could power wash it off if it got to be not to the Rochester standard. Just my 2 cents.
Thank you. So,
Okay.
Councilmember King.
A question about the grant. Does it require it be a crosswalk, or is it for art within the city?
The classifier was placemaking. We had submitted for this particular project. I didn't ask, you know, beyond approval. We talked about it, but I don't know if I can submit for a different project. If it falls under placemaking, they might be flexible. I do know we have to, I think, execute the project before the new calendar year. So there is some time to research that if the city council would like us to.
Okay, so, council, I guess, maybe a head nod. Is there support to have it at this spot?
I guess I would ask before we do that,
Okay.
can we explore the placemaking grant to find out what other options there are available?
I'm certainly happy to do so, yeah, if you would
Okay.
like us to, yes.
Councilmember King?
One of the things that came to mind is the new Kiwanis, or, well, the updates that were made there and the murals that are going there. I like the fact that they're easily removable, so as they age from the weather, that's something that could come down. I'm wondering if maybe along the parking garage, this is totally different, I know, than what you guys had proposed, but just a thought that I had.
Councilmember Trent?
Well, speaking of location, I mean, when you showed that one from Seattle, it's one painted crosswalk. I mean, it seems like one painted crosswalk going maybe to the Roxy, going around the Corner Bar, going towards the alley or the parking structure where a lot of people come from. That would be a test as opposed to putting down 4, and then 2 of those are going to a funeral home. And I just don't know about activating the funeral home at this time either. I'm just throwing it out there. This is stuff we're gonna hear,
So,
you know.
so maybe, Councilmember Jones?
Just one other comment, because I know you said it's just $2,500 grant, but it's also $3,000 of the DDA money. So it seems like $5,500 is a pretty substantial amount of funds to being spent. I'm just wondering if there's a way to throw it back
So-
to look at some other
So
locations.
maybe come back with different places to put it, and also check and see if the grant will do that? Is that heading on?
That's why we're here.
Councilmember Hauser, you had no?
No, I guess I agree with Councilmember Trent and Jones in that I could see possibly getting behind the one from the Corner Bar to the Roxy. That kind of makes some sense. But I also think too, it's like, is there another spot that we could put it that might be a little bit more conducive to that? Maybe start somewhere a little bit off the main street or the side street there, so we can get some feedback from the residents and hear what they have to say before we start marking up, you know, a fairly significant intersection in town. Those are just my thoughts, though. I mean, I like the art. I want to see if we can find a home for it. I just don't know if that's the particular place for it. Okay? Okay, and one more, yes.
Of course, this is something I have to go into, you guys, just one more. Thank you. I mean, this area here, there's like 2 sidewalks all around that pocket park, and we talked about doing that, and that is not aggregate. Those are just I'm just spitballing, just to be clear of things that, you know, and maybe that could connect to that. Yeah.
Councilmember Jones.
Sorry, one more thought, as far as locations, we're redoing the whole Lions Park also. And, you know, we're gonna put a little shelter there and such, so maybe there's an idea of doing the sidewalks there down from the Rochester Mills around to make that kind of a vibrant location to hang.
Councilmember, Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we also talked about, we added a new crosswalk area, awareness area, right, on Second. Is that,
Oh, yeah.
how about a location like that to even add more to that for people to be aware that that is a crosswalk?
I'm sorry, which location is that? Second and,
Dance school, it connects to the dance school.
oh, okay.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, Councilmember Hauser.
And I don't want to steal the authorship of this, but I just want to make sure I understand. That alley that goes between Walnut and the alley, between the parking structure and I guess it would be the back of the corner bar, that, it can't be placed there?
That's aggregate. You couldn't paint that on.
There's no paint that'll do aggregate, like it's never happened in the United States.
The artists won't do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a contract signed with the,
There is, so we will have to kind of go back and discuss if this artist is even available at a different timeline, and so there will be some logistical things I'll have to roll back. But I'm happy to do the due diligence if we feel like this is not the
So,
location.
Why would you sign a contract? I guess I'm confused.
To secure just timing in order to get this going for the summer season, for the community to appreciate. Wanted to get some, things going on the back end, as she's very busy. But I think we'll just have to talk about schedules with her and, as we talk about these new locations and figure out how we can transfer that to a later date.
so then that probably then needs to go back to the DDA, present to them, and then come back here with something the DDA's approved again?
Yep.
Is that-
I think that would be the sufficient direction from council, which is what we sought this evening, so thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And now on to the Graham.
Yeah, just a quick update, since I was in the neighborhood, I figured I'd stop by and just kind of tell everybody what's going on. So, best laid plans, as the things usually go, we did not get everything ready for the planning commission in time for their June meeting, which has already happened, so we're on the calendar for the July meeting for them. So there's, we haven't been before them yet, so we don't even know what questions to answer just yet. But, so we'll be there before them in July for their July meeting to go over the plan. There was, and then August will be the, sort of the thumbs up or thumbs down. In terms of the actual financing, it's all set. I was waiting for the closing packet, which hasn't come today. I think it'll probably come tomorrow. But I'm kind of waiting to see what goes on with planning on that. I don't want to string the seller out. Just because of sort of, 2 extra months of whatnot. But I had told you guys when we were up here doing that project that it was potential contingencies that it would take. Everything will be done, except that we wouldn't be able to get on the calendar for planning. So, is what it is. I think Dave Becker said it best, the grist mills of government turn slowly. So we'll just do it. It's the system that we're within. But I think to a person, the plan itself, we did remove from the plan the shelters off to the side because it was creating a issue with respect to the property line there, where we made them, just for this iteration, more like the sales on the first one. So that way we're not creating an issue to get shot down the road. So hopefully that'll be sufficient. But aside from that, I don't think there's anything too crazy. We're not expecting anything too insane. We should be able to, hopefully, fingers crossed, get through everything pretty quickly. So that was really the update. So haven't closed yet. Due diligence period ends next Monday. We're probably going to extend that at least a couple weeks till the dust sort of settles on this other stuff. But it's entirely possible we'll close before planning commission, and I guess the worst case scenario there is they'll just have us move some stuff around, and that'll be it. But yeah, we're marching full steam ahead. It's gonna be great.
Good. Councilmember Hauser?
Thank you for the update. To be clear, so as it pertains to the closing, you were able to resolve those title issues?
Yep,
or the-
everything's good.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
oh, it's-
great.
What's the
Okay.
old saying, Mr. Mayor, no good deed goes unpunished? Yeah, so there was a lot I've learned a lot about 1920s and 30s stuff from Rochester and how things were deeded and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, we've been able to get through all of that. Our council did a fantastic job of repping us on that, so I think we're in good shape.
Good.
Any other question? Thank you.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Thank you.
See you at the planning commission with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, can't wait.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all
Next
your
is a
hard work.
presentation regarding the pet license program.
Hello. You don't get to
City
see
Clerk
me
O'Connor.
You don't get
Yeah,
to see me often, do you?
No.
no. But I do appreciate you being here at 6 o'clock to open the front door.
Always. All right, go here. And, man, I'm getting old. Oh, dear. Oh, I know why. I'm so sorry.
Is anybody else having internet trouble?
So interestingly, when I'm here, I can't get into my email account. Is that,
I can't get,
I don't, and I'm online,
I
but
can't, the last couple meetings I haven't been able to get on.
same thing. Jeremy, our IT guy's gonna handle that after the meeting, because he's the youngest person here, that's why. So he's the de facto IT kid.
I usually download it, 'cause sometimes it'll load, but then it's so big that it has to like
Yeah.
reload. You start scrolling, and you're like,
I can't get on at
Just
all.
have to forward
You're
it.
not missing
Yeah.
anything
Yeah, you
online,
can't,
right?
my email doesn't work at all
There's
anymore.
nothing on the internet.
Hey, Anthony, how do I get this?
Come down here,
Sorry.
Leanne.
What? Right here? Good idea, thank you.
That,
All right, thank you, council. Now we're ready to go.
PowerPoint support.
So we're gonna talk about the pet licensing program here in Rochester. Our goal for this evening is to look at right-sizing the fees for the pet licensing. We are currently the lowest in the county, and it hasn't been adjusted in many decades. Also allowing for 3-year licenses. I'm not looking for council to necessarily make a motion tonight. I'm looking for your feedback on what you would like the fees to be or think would be appropriate. The changes will require an ordinance amendment, so I will work on what the motion would be based on your input tonight and work with Attorney Crott to get the ordinance amendment in front of you. So why do we license dogs? According to the Dog Law, Public Act 339 of 1919. It is set up for county issuance of licenses. It requires owners to license any dog that's aged 4 months or older. Requires a valid rabies certificate. It provides for due dates of March 1st of every year, or every third year, or on June 1st of the same. Section 290 allows for cities to adopt a local animal control office ordinance to regulate licensing. We do have that. We have taken advantage of that. Our city code, chapter 8, article 2, dogs and cats. Oakland County handles licensing for 47 of the city, townships, and villages in Oakland County. It does not for 10 others, which is Berkeley, Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, Hazel Park, Huntington Woods, Oak Park, us, Royal Oak, Southfield, and Southfield Township. So the question is, why don't we just have Oakland County do it for us? So there's no benefit to switching to Oakland County, as we would still be required to be a point of sale for the animal licenses, so there would be no staff time. Plus, the bigger concern would be is they would have to be our animal control and service our animal control. So we would have to repeal that, and the police department would no longer handle that. Police handled last year 252 animal-related calls. The county, Chief George talked with the county, and he said, what does that look like? The county informed him that they would only come to calls that were related to state law violations that were issued under a warrant, torture, fighting, things like that. So that would take away our local control of our leash laws and, you know, all the other barking dogs running at large. So Chief George and I know that that wouldn't be something council would want. So, take back. So the city would still be a point of, okay, did that. So just to look at the map, you can see that the majority of the cities that Oakland County handles are down in that southeastern corner, and we are a little island up there. That's important as we go on and talk about the fees that all our neighbors are paying that we are not. So our currently licensed program and the recommendation to add a 3-year option. Licenses expire on March 1st. We have only 1-year licenses, and we include cats. Oakland County does not include cats in their licensing program. What our recommendation as a point of conversation for this evening is to have 1-year licenses and 3-year licenses. The license expire date would be December 31st of the licensing year. The renewal period would be January 1st through March 1st. Continue to include cats. That would be a point of discussion for council, whether or not you wanted to continue to do that. And then, of course, they said that the changes will require an ordinance amendment. Our current fees, we charge $3 for spade or neuter, $15 for not, and we have a $12 late fee. As you can see from just the snippet here, Oakland County charges $15 for a 1-year spay or neuter. They charge $25 for intact, and they have a $40 late fee. That's in addition to what the license fee would be. They have a minimal senior discount of $1 to $2. So again, council can set that however you would want. We don't currently have any relief for the seniors at all. I put this chart together. I had gathered all the information from the other communities that don't have Oakland County. So you can see that many of them don't license cats. A few of them offer or license after 3-year licenses. Just that data there. This is what Oakland County is currently charging for their fees. For the 1-year, the 3-year, their late fee of $40 in addition to whatever the license would be. Fees proposed, again, this is just for a discussion point, closer to what Oakland County is charging, since the nearest community to us is Royal Oak that doesn't charge those fees. 1-year spay or neutered at 15 to 25. I was recommending the 15 for the spayed or neutered, 25 for not. The late fee, I feel like the $40 per animal is a bit high. Maybe lessens that to 25, but make it painful enough that they start paying attention to it. And then the other recommendations. Discount for seniors, again, I don't have any recommendation for that, but I'll have, on the last slide, we can start discussing that and see what your feelings are. We do have a pet park permit. That's a separate resolution. It's not in the animal license ordinance. It requires a local pet permit set by council by resolution. It's for animals that are walked in the city parks to have a permit. Doesn't include the trails, doesn't include downtown, obviously not your neighborhoods, and certainly not the cemetery, Nick. Rochester residents pay $10. This is where we have the senior amount is $5. Allows for out-of-town persons, and they have to pay $40. Plus, they have to show us their rabies certificate, and they have to prove to us that they're licensed in whatever community it is that they live in. And again, half off for seniors. Our recommendation, the whole idea of offering the 3-year licenses is so people don't have to come in every year. So when I offer a 3-year, they're the ability to purchase the dog park permit for the 3 years if they're coming in and getting the 3 years. I'd recommend that for residents only, not the out of town. They can come in and get them on an annual basis. Online, currently the county, does have that program. I don't know how that works. It's not like a tax bill or a water bill where they can just pay it online and we're done. They have to show us something and we have to give them something. So the online component, I'll keep monitoring and watching, and someday someone will figure out an easy way to do that. But as of right now, we don't have that ability. So, for our discussion for this evening, so I'm looking for your thoughts and nods for approval of the 3 licenses, approval of the 3-year park permit, continue whether or not you want to continue licensing cats, where you want to set that 1-year fee, where you want to set that 3-year fee, where you want to set that late fee, and whether you're not a senior discount. So there's a lot there, but we can knock them off one at a time if you don't.
Thank you, Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll just give you all my recommendations.
Awesome.
Yes, I want to maintain local control. Does not, I mean, we don't want to do a disservice to the residents to have to go down to the county
Correct.
to maintain this.
So I see a head nod on everybody, so we're good with that.
Yes.
I would like to add a 3-year option, residents only. I think that makes complete sense. Maintain the park permit.
Agreed, everybody? Yeah, okay.
Include cats, agree with
Cats,
that.
yeah.
I'd like to revise the period from January 1st to December 31st, just makes sense.
Right.
Makes it easy.
Yeah.
Definitely a discount for seniors, we can decide that. I don't think any resident probably called us and said, hey, could you right-size the fees? So I don't know if there's any change needed for fees.
I agree with
guess.
that, too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'll wait.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. All right, Councilmember Hauser, you're next.
No,
Councilwoman
Councilwoman
Jones.
Jones was first. Yeah.
So, Councilman Sage, you saying not to increase our fees?
No, I don't think anybody called and said, please increase the fees.
No, they did not, but I do feel as a dog owner, our fees are too low. And so I really feel that we absolutely have to look at raising the fees.
Okay.
I guess, let me, wait, this is my time, council members. I'm curious to know what those funds go to. Obviously, there's.
General fund.
In the general.
How much
Right, what percent of the general fund is
roughly is
derived
it a
from
year?
pet
What's
fees?
the revenue?
What's the revenue?
You're looking at about 1,000 pet licenses a year, so it's easy enough math, $3,000. If you stay at our rate that we have. And this is the argument that former manager Johnson way back in the day had for me, which is why it never bubbled up to the top, and I'm standing here in my 24th year saying that we should do this now and haven't before. Then we had the recession, then we had the pandemic, and then throw it to you guys. It's up to you.
So, okay, so my vote would be for an increase, but we would have to discuss what that might be. And also, if there's a senior discount with one, it should be with both, because it sounds like now we only offer senior discount on the park pass, but not on the license. So I would just suggest we have a uniform. And I think it's good to have a strong late fee. I am a person who pays that late fee. So every year you send it out 3 months early, I think, and it sits on my counter, and I'm still late. So I think a nice, strong late fee is a good idea.
Councilmember Trent, I'm going to just go up the line.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I was in the Budget and Finance meeting when we discussed increasing the pet license fee. I was for it. I still am. I maybe not a whole lot. I mean, increase, like not maybe double it, but I think it's okay to increase it. I believe the discussion was it just is, it's costing us at this point to do it. Like I mean, we're not making a load of money, but I mean, just to cover our cost of the city would be nice to do. And that was it. And then seniors, I agree. And then cats, I have cats. So, fine, I pay my cats.
Councilmember Hauser?
I'm gonna adopt Mr. Sage's recommendations, the majority of them. The only thing that I would maybe change is I'm not a fan of that late fee, and I'll tell you why. Because to me, it's a little bit punitive, and I think it also acts as a deterrent for someone like, geez, $40, I'll roll the dice and I'll wait until next month. To me, I would want to encourage compliance. I would want to encourage people to say, hey, I gotta take care of this. I made a mistake, and generate it that way, because I think people looking at the prospect of having to pay a $40 fine, like, I'll just wait and take my time. So I would want to get rid of that late fee, because I don't think it needs to be punitive. And then as it pertains to any increase, I don't know. I mean, I could see a very, very small amount, but I don't know if it's gonna move the needle much on how the city operates. So those are just my views on that.
My views is, I'm not a pet owner. I agree with Councilmember Sage and Hauser. I don't think we need an increase. This is really small amount of money, and it just seems to me, this is what would you say, a solution looking for a problem. I mean, to me, it doesn't need to do this, so that's where I am. Councilmember King.
I would love to see us use the funds from it, whether they're at the current rate or with an increase to tackle our cat problem. I don't know if anybody in their neighborhoods, but the amount of cats roaming the neighborhoods, you can hear them like all hours of the night in the alleys, and they're just gonna continue to multiply. There are so many strays. So, I don't know, that's very off topic. I'm totally fine with the recommendations, but I don't know what can be done. People are talking about getting live traps and trying to catch them, but then you're like, you don't wanna catch raccoons or skunks and have to deal with that, so it's the only reason I haven't gone out and done it, but there's cats everywhere.
In the alleys. Maybe if we put the artwork in the alleys, that will
No,
scare the
this
cats
isn't
off.
No, this is by so Grigg Street, like those alleys, not like the commercial alleys where there's food and stuff, and, yeah, it's just the neighborhoods.
So, do you have something enough to come back, or?
I'm hearing you wanna keep them the same, and then for the 3-year,
I don't
or
wanna
just
keep 'em
multiply out?
Well, a couple people,
Okay.
well, there's two
Okay.
people who wanted
Give me some
increases.
Well, and I just feel like, so 1,000 licenses, you raised it $3. I mean, that rolls out to be a decent amount of extra funds. That's $3,000. Why are we poo-pooing possibly a little extra funds? We are ridiculously low. As a person who has a lot of friends that have dogs that buy look at the numbers. I truly feel like it's 3 now, let's make it 6, or make it 5. Let's just make it 5. That's, $3 is to me a peculiar number to start with. So, yes, I'm certainly leaning towards looking at the city making a little extra money on, there's labor involved. I go in, the whole thing is very, it takes time. You gotta look at the rabies sheet. You gotta you've been there. Yeah, so, do I hit 5? Do I hear 10?
Councilmember Trent?
Yeah, so are we gonna have to have an ordinance change to change it till you can buy a 1-year? You
Yes.
can buy 1 year
Yes.
or
It's a
3.
3-year.
Because I was
Change
thinking,
it to
if
3.
you think you don't have, animals getting old or something,
No,
maybe,
we
yeah,
have to
okay.
change it to
So,
allow that.
I mean, if it's, since
And
it's,
that's fairly simple.
and I agree with Councilmember Jones, that $3, it's almost like you just do it for free. It's truly low. I mean, you can't even buy a cup of coffee for $3. I'd like to buy a $5 cup of coffee is what I like to, but that, I remember it, it's just expensive. I mean, it's
Do
cheap.
you want to make a motion then should we vote on it?
Yeah, you can,
So,
for sure.
Just
Councilmember Sage?
one other comment. So our budget is what, 17 million? So if we
I'm just
increase
doing
the
my due
fees and
diligence.
generate from 3,000 to 6,000, do we just buy some new office supplies or
Catch the cat.
catch the
Well,
cat?
that's a separate issue,
cats.
right? That's a police
Put it in
issue.
the cat fund, yes.
It's just,
So, Council, what do you want to do? She's looking for,
A number, because
a
it sounds
number.
like there's one stays, one's $5.
so it's 3 now and the
It's 3, and they're
recommendation
up there.
6?
Yes, from you, so that's what I'm hearing from you.
If I may, you know what, in the spirit of compromise and to get things off of center, I would be amenable to a bump up to $5, okay? But I
hear 5.
and again, I don't know if there's gonna be much support for this, but I would really like to get rid of that late fee, because again, I think that acts more as a deterrent for compliance. And I would want people to be able to just come up here for amnesty purposes, hey, I missed it, I wanna register my dog or cat.
One more.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, we also could really throw a wrench in the deal and have actually a discount for paying early. Like pay in 30 days and you only pay $3. You pay by, Okay, might be a little too
No, I think it's
complicated.
cool.
Councilmember Sage, again.
I could support a modest increase as long as it is offset in subsidizing seniors.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
I, definitely seniors. I 100% agree with the seniors.
So, how about $5 for the new fee for, and then $3 for the seniors?
There you go.
We can keep it, then
Or
you're
a
not
dollar.
increasing.
Make it $1 for seniors. What? Again, we're not generating any revenue here.
Yeah, you're doing what's required by law, and
Yeah.
A dollar would be, I don't know if people would come in to pay the dollar. I think $3, my opinion would be.
I'd rent a
for
pet
seniors.
just to pay the dollar.
You can donate your own money if you.
Leader dogs.
So how about a compromise of, well, you said $5, $3 for seniors, eliminate the
Late fee.
late fee? People good with that?
okay,
Councilmember King?
About the intact.
yeah.
Include
Charge
cats?
more.
Yeah, seriously.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
That is
that's the
important.
biggest
That
risk,
is not
frankly.
spayed or neutered, so.
That
if
needs to
that's
be
what you
paid
wanna
for.
make Painful.
That's right.
Oh, give me a number.
15.
No,
30.
no,
Well, I have a question, I have a
25.
question before we do a number.
Have my glasses on?
25.
It's
Mayor.
25
for a
now.
tax.
Mayor,
No,
hold
no,
on.
no, no.
No.
Oakland County is
That's Oakland
25,
County.
up above,
Yeah,
on the
ours
top,
is on the
3,
top,
15,
15.
and, or $12.
Councilmember Jones?
I have a cat. I had no idea there's a licensing. Is that required?
Cats in your
Under
street.
our ordinance, it is. Not under the
I
state
do
law.
not, I do not think we have advertised that
Part of
requirement.
this will be spring newsletter, hopefully first page, second page,
And that is a license to, they're supposed to wear it?
supposed to. Not supposed to.
And is it, I missed that little chatter there. Is it, you have to be neutered? You have to show papers for that?
Have to, not for the neutered. I usually take their word for it, but that's usually indicated on the rabies certificate as well.
Okay, so I don't ever get even a renewal for a
don't
cat
either.
license because I've never gotten my cat license.
There you go.
So, okay, all right.
Councilmember Trent?
Duly noted.
So I hope that, I mean, because basically they're having to do with renewals, they have to follow up with people. So now if there's no late fee, you don't have to follow up with people, but what do you tell them, dear Mr. Hauser?
Tell them what?
But they
Well,
can pay
that
6
they
months
can-
Just
later.
remind them that they.
They need to pay, okay. So I also think that $25 for intact should be paid. We have, to encourage people, I don't know if it's gonna change them or not, but just to get
Okay,
your,
5 for regular, 3 for seniors.
Correct.
25 for intact.
Correct.
Senior amount, 20 for intact if you're a
Yeah.
senior and you
10.
have 10 for a
15.
senior.
Oh, come on, this isn't an auction.
All right, 15, that's the compromise.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then, are we good?
I have one question, not related to fee structure. If there's a violation, let's say someone stops someone at the park and asks for their stuff, what's the fine for that? Do you know, Mr. City Attorney?
Oftentimes it's a warning to go get it
Sure,
done.
of course, yeah.
I haven't seen one in a while go through the court, but it would be a ticket.
Okay.
So you're looking at over $100 if it goes that far. And most of the time, where I see it is if there was a dog bite situation.
Right.
And then they say, hey, can you, you've got this. And oftentimes what we've done is they've been written tickets for the dog bite and not being licensed. And when they show me at court, then I take care of that one.
See, that's the deterrent to me is the citation, so that's why I don't think
I think that
the
should
late
be-
fee works.
oh, I see.
So are you good? And then
I
you'll
think-
bring that back to us to, at
Correct,
the next
along
meeting?
with the ordinance, probably in a couple of meetings.
Very good. Thank you. That
Thank
wasn't
you
so
all.
bad, right? All right, thank you.
Now, Debbie?
Next, Councilmember Jones, you have your work cut out for you.
Oh, sweet.
Next is a receipt of the check register report. Any questions on that? Okay, now on to receive report from the various boards and commissions, report from the OPC board. Mayor Pro Tem Salvi's not here tonight. I'd just like to announce that there is on Friday, the 21st of this month, there is this summer soiree, which is their big fundraiser for Meals on Wheels. There's still are tickets available. It is a pretty nice event, if you can come. So that's what's going on at the OPC. Next is a report from the Planning Commission.
Sure.
Councilmember Hauser.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. We had our planning commission last week, and it was a very small agenda. We discussed a potential development of a commercial building on South Street. The applicant came in and presented some ideas. There's currently, I think it was a vacant lot, and then there's a residential structure on there too that would certainly be demolished. But there was some feedback. It was constructive. I think they made some forward progress. They heard what we wanted. And ultimately, at the end of the presentation, we moved to have it set for public hearing.
Thank you. Councilmember King.
Is that the one where the home burned down?
No, it's a different lot, a little bit further, more on the way towards Bloomer.
Because it appeared that there was an existing structure. They were planning to keep that, right?
I think they were planning to keep a shed in the back along the river there, but the house would be demised. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that was it. It was one issue.
Next is a report from the Cemetery Advisory Committee. Councilmember Jones.
Hopefully I'll get help on this because I didn't bring my notes. I didn't realize I was supposed to. We had our first meeting with some new attendees on and the commission or the committee. And really most of the discussion was kind of bringing us up to date on what they did, I think, before COVID was the last meeting. And it has a lot to do with getting a new fence around the cemetery, probably potentially new entrance. It's extremely expensive, so it was just a lot of chatter about how that might be able to happen. They also discussed, Leanne, you might fill in for me a little bit on this. They're thinking about a pathway, sort of a road. Can you explain that?
Sure. Just south of the receiving vault, there is another asphalt road that can be taken up and replatted and spaces sold in that monument. Right now, the monument area is completely sold out. We don't have any additional spaces. Previously, decades ago, Bruce Austin did close down pathways like that throughout, but that would be the last little pathway that would, and would give us about 90 additional spaces.
That's a lot. Yeah. Anything else that I'm missing? No, okay. Sorry.
Next is a report, thank you. Next is a report from the PSD, Councilmember Jones.
I was prepared for this one, so. We met last week. Lots of exciting things that are going on. Deck art is completed, obviously. There was 350 decks. There is, the DIA has the 10 works of art around town. They're working on possibly doing walking tours for those. June 22nd, Maker's Mark. There's 40 vendors. They're going to be giving out 300 tote bags. They will be closing off the street on 4th Street for that event. They did talk about the sidewalk art, as we did tonight. They are doing, working way ahead. October 3rd is Rochester Pose, and Broadway is a theme this year, which is going to be fun. They have added there's going to be a People's Choice as well as the Judge's Choice, so you'll be able to text in your votes for that. And the Farmers Market, extremely successful opening day. They are continuing to build on that. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything, Nick?
All good. Thank you. Next is a report of the special downtown development meeting.
Well, we kind of just
We kinda
went through
did.
it. It was about the crosswalk art. It was a special meeting that was called to discuss that. And then the or the purchase of the veterinarian hospital property, that was discussed. And it was the same thing that was discussed today. So there's
Very
nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any further public comment tonight? Mrs. Kane, come on. Welcome back.
First of all, thank you, Councilmember King, for bringing up something about the stray cats. In our neighborhood, we still have 5 stray cats still walking the wall, still crossing Castell, and still down in an area. However, 2 of them look very pregnant. And I expect in the next couple of months, there will probably be complaints, because if the cats do what they normally do, that would be 5 kittens each, that's 10 cats adding to the existing 5, that's 15 cats in a concentrated area. That is totally wrong. We need to look into a TNR program that is functional and that actually works. It's not the trap, oh, let them loose and don't let anybody feed them and starve. That's not what Oakland County wants or sets out. But we need a way to decrease this population. In addition to that, we have cats, of course, because they can roam in the state of Michigan, they can roam in Rochester, and they do roam. They don't have licenses on, but they do roam. I'm learning this firsthand. I have that cat we saved a year ago. She is just now a year old. She's never been outside, really. And I did buy her an extra small little harness, thinking maybe I could have her outside with me on a leash. So I put it on her, extra small, tightened it all up, did the whole bit, got her on the floor, had the leash, says, come on, let me show you. Houdini, she was on the couch looking at me and it was off. That's how tiny that neck is, and that head can slip through, regardless. So there is a problem with that, but what we need to do is decrease the population that is just roaming around. 3 months ago, 2 months ago, when everything was kind of going on, the weather was turning, a neighbor was kind enough to begin to trap cats. She was only able to remove 3 from the area, but they were 3 cats that should be removed, they all should be. But what she has done is in her work schedule, she has to line up the vet for the next morning. So she had specific evenings she could trap, the trap has to keep being checked, the cats go to the vet the next morning, and then from the vet on to rescue. We have people that do not get their animals neutered or spayed, and the reason is cost. They do not want to go to the low neuter and spay clinics because, first of all, it's too far for them to drive, it's inconvenient, you have to book way in advance. So when they're local, a lot of them aren't going to spend the few hundreds, and it is hundreds of dollars for the cost. That's kind of what's going on, so I thank you for bringing it up. It is a problem. They're lounging in my yard again after having a nice absence. I don't know what I'm going to do. They're back to killing some birds. I had black capped chickadees in 2 of the birdhouses. The one little group of fledglings was killed. They're also killing blue jays, mourning doves, and cardinals in my yard. Beautiful, peaceful birds. But if you know those birds and you know the flight paths and how they take off, the mourning doves are very low on the ground with a low angle coming up. They take a little space. It's sad to see. We want the birds, we want the butterflies, we want all this nice stuff that enhances a neighborhood or a yard. And these cats are running around, and I don't know who's doing what with them, but they're the same sort of group. 1 gray, diluted, pregnant, 1 orange, smaller, pregnant, and 3 other orange. 1 orange and white, the other orange and white with the clipped ear I've not seen in a while, so that's kind of where it's at. But we do need to look into a program in the future, something to help.
Thank you. Nick, maybe administration, in the near future can come up with, so I'm not saying we can solve
No.
the problem, but maybe there's something we can
You
at least begin to start on different quadrants of the city or something.
Well, people move, cats left.
Sure.
People lose the cats because they're roaming and they don't come back home, and the problem increases.
Councilmember Trent?
Yeah, so the TNR is trap, neuter, and release.
Yes.
There are programs
Yes.
for that
Yes.
that you
But then
can.
somebody is
But
feeding them, they're caretakers.
I know it's somewhere it's controversial, but basically it is, you trap the cat, you get it neutered, and then you release it, spay it or neutered.
And they're vetted at the same time.
And so that starts decreasing the cat population.
Councilmember Hauser?
For someone who isn't too familiar with this line, I want to make sure I understand this. So if there's a cat issue in our city, a resident can call the police department, I believe, and they will set out a live trap.
Animal ordinance control.
Correct. They'll come out, they'll set the trap, and then they catch a cat, and then they take it to a TNR facility, is that right?
They've
Or-
been going to Oakland County under, I guess, a contract, but when the cats were returned, some of them were just dumped I shouldn't say dumped, excuse me, they were released in areas they were not familiar with. And you can't do that because they, just like a wild animal, they get stressed, they can't find food, they can't find shelter, territory belongs to someone else, and they die. And there's a percentage that will die anyway. And when you do the TNR program, most cities have what they call caretakers, or an area where the cat came from, where people have the shelters and they feed them and they take care of them.
So,
And that's what we, yeah.
so why don't we have the city manager come back with, I don't think we're gonna solve this.
No, I'm just trying to understand, so you could
Right.
just throw it,
Yeah, you can't
let the
just,
cat right back on the street?
And the cats are
Right.
coming from a known area. It's that same area that was problematic for the last several years, okay? It only takes 2 cats and 5 kittens to start a problem.
I know.
I'll be honest with you, we know that.
They're multiplying, yeah.
That's why they need to be trapped in neuter state.
correct.
They're multiplying, and I shudder to think what's gonna happen in our area. It's,
Well, we had a problem with that area last year.
yeah, I know, I went to court over it for having bird seed in my bird feeder, because I called Oakland County on a pregnant cat in winter, and I was told by a 30-year employee there, after I talked to the ordinance control officer, that I couldn't quite trap yet, because I called rescues. He told me, transferred me to her, she told me, feed it for a few days, see if you can line up a rescue, get back with us on it, and as soon as the weather breaks, we can trap. I could trap if I could get a rescue or help. And unfortunately, I listened to them because we didn't have anything in place here, and I ended up with a court citation, and I ended up all summer sweating this out with a couple of people, and I ended up in court with an allegation that wasn't true, and I couldn't even talk to the judge, but yes, it was dismissed, but I'll tell you what it did to me. It ruined a whole last summer with my sick husband, okay? And it was built on stuff that wasn't true and wasn't right, and a few people didn't listen to it. Do I want that to happen to me again? Nope. Those cats are in the area roaming. They're still orange, and they're still that variegated one. They are 2 are pregnant.
Got it.
Somebody else can solve their problem, not me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to general miscellaneous. Oh, Ms. Shepherd, welcome. Come on up.
We have a bird feeder in our yard, and I love it. It's one of those Margaret Shepherd 628 Rewall. And it's one of those that has a camera on it. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, it's also a cat feeder. And one of the cats that comes has a license. And I don't know, my husband and I have decided we may just take it down because the little fledglings are out right now, and we have a couple other cats that come in too, and it's distressing. He takes a box and runs out and throws it at them. Well, it's not gonna hurt them, but, you know, it's kind of funny to see an adult going out there and throwing a box at a cat. So anyway, that's the problem we have, and I don't know how you're gonna solve that.
Thank you. Yeah, like I say, Mr. Seaman, there's got to be programs and something. Again, at least start fixing it. I'm not going to solve everything.
Got it.
On to general miscellaneous, Mr. City Manager.
3 things for you. First, if you take a look at the Kiwanis shelter, they finished the exterior cement work last week. It's great. No more dripping, mud all over. We've got the whole facility painted, ready for the murals. They're waiting to put the sink in the kitchen. It's much more functional, much cleaner. People are lining up to rent it. So thanks to Jason and his crew, they saved a bunch of money by doing the demo on the cement, and now it's ADA compliant, all that good stuff, which is exciting. They started on the pathways at the Memorial Grove, the first little pocket park. They started the sidewalks today. So they're going to keep moving forward on that, and hopefully, look, Anthony got through the paperwork for the big tot lot finally. So we're looking at a fall bid for that. They might not build it to the spring, but both those projects are going forward quickly. You have a package in front of you. Samantha did some great work, our intern in HR with Joe Ellen. It shows the council person's compensation for committees. That's our comps that we always use for other things, other cities, we use as comps.
I don't think we got that.
We didn't get that.
Marcy was putting out every one of your things before the meeting.
Oh,
No.
Are they right there? Is that-
no, none of this is.
Okay, all right, well, we'll get it.
Email it to
Email
you.
it to
Okay,
us.
we will. I thought Marcy put them on here tonight.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a study for you. What you're gonna see is.
Good
there's only-
thought, though, right?
Yeah, there's only, the work was done at 5 o'clock, we were putting them out here. There was only one community that pays any council people for, other than their council meeting. So it was $10 a meeting. I think it was Hazel Park. Everybody else is not paid for them, but it's up, we can do what we want, right? So you'll have all the
Rochester
information.
What about Rochester Hills?
That's not a comp for us, so that wasn't in there. But take a look at the information, and then any other questions, we can get any more information you might need, so that's it.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Can I take a minute for a Nick story of my own? So this year is the 40th anniversary of the iconic teenage movie Footloose. If you all recall, the main scene is when Kevin Bacon's character comes before the town council because he wants them to repeal the ordinance. But if you pay close attention, at the very beginning of that scene, the town clerk announces the fees for the pet licenses, and I believe her line is, a licensed pet is a happy pet. So, you know, as a teenager 40 years ago, little did I know I would be sitting here and I can say, a licensed pet is a happy pet.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. City Attorney,
No, nothing.
Follow that, but
I'm not touching that.
Councilmember King,
Hard to follow. Nope, I'm good. This is-
Councilmember Sage.
Just one thing, I want to recognize or congratulate Jeremy on the Rochester Greater Leadership Program and his project there with the mini library. Good job, sir. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Jones.
Just real quick, at the Rochester Hills Public Library on Saturday, they had an event for the nonprofits, which I'm very strongly in support of getting information out about the nonprofits. So it was opening day of the summer reading program, and they had tables throughout the area of the nonprofits. And I know I've talked about concessions a lot, but I do have the schedule for Hallback Field and when this concession stand is open, if anyone wants to know when they can get a snack.
Oh, gosh.
So they are open and it is running, so that's it. Yeah.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes, I was representing the city of Rochester at the Justin Schilling Nature Walk at the Pollyann Trail with the donation of the Butterfly Pledge to support that pollinator garden for Justin, one of the shooting victims. And it was very, very well attended. It was the first one they've had, so 200 people were there. And I encourage anyone to go on the Pollyann Trail. It's really a great place. And then there's the White Pine Coffee, sorry, but it's a wonderful place. It's right there at that corner. And then River Day was the next event I attended, and it was the Dinosaur Hill River Day. And it was quite lovely. You could go into the river and catch, they said brook trout and rainbow trout minnows, and then some mayflies and some little water spiders, and that means it's a healthy river, and the kids were just loving it. They were having a great time, and got a few milkweed plants to plant for the butterflies, and then they also got to pull Dame's rocket. Families got to pull an invasive species, the Dame's rocket. So it was really, next year I hope that more people will come. We had about 60 people attend. It was a beautiful day.
Thank you. Councilmember Hauser?
Sure, three things. First and foremost, I had the opportunity to play in the Rochester Chamber of Commerce golf outing this morning and this afternoon. It was really nice, and Maggie and her team did a fantastic job. It was over at Cherry Creek, and just first class from start to finish. So it was really nice to have participated in that. Lots of people from the community, and it was very well done. So congratulations to her and her team. Two, I want everyone to know I'm the biggest advocate of mass transit and public transportation, but can we do better than the tire rim, rusted out sign with the bus stop over there?
Yeah, so that was not on their plan. We called them immediately. I saw it the first morning. It's like, where did that
Hauser's
come
gonna
from?
lose his mind, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's still there today. I saw it, so it will be gone tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. And then third, and this kind of dovetails into the conversation with the cat. So yesterday afternoon, I was walking around over on Taylor and Fourth, and I spoke to Miss Kane for quite some time. There's a house over there, that 345 Taylor. Their neighbor is saying there's still an abandoned paddle boat in the back of that yard where she has seen 5 or 6 cats living underneath that paddle boat. And that paddle boat is filled with water. I can give you pictures that the neighbor sent me. And and I'm working on the ordinances, I'm working on comparing and contrasting what we have versus others, but I think it's a multifaceted issue, but I think that it starts somewhere, and I'm committed to doing that. I work with you guys again, but that's a house I think that, I know you guys have taken some action on, but the neighbor is, I spent 20 minutes in front of her house yesterday, and she's still pretty worked up about that paddle boat and the broken down car in their backyard. That's all I've got.
Thank you. I just have a few things. One, it seems like it's been a bit ago, but we had the open house for the police force, and it was well-attended, and they gave out some awards to some police who'd really done some heroic things. It was nice, and they brought back a lot of past police officers who, some of us have recognized, so it was very nice to see them. And I think our police force is going along well. This week starts, I think Wednesday or Thursday is the concert in the park, dueling piano, so that series is starting up, so it's a great event in town. And then just for everybody here, our next council meeting is going to be the Airbnb issue and the Solaronics issue. So Nick and I are going to work to keep as much of the other stuff off the meeting as possible. But those are, important meeting, and we're going to try to run it as efficiently as possible, but just be aware that that meeting is going to be that night. Councilmember Hauser.
Is the city planner, Vidya, planning on being here in person that evening?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's going to try to.
Okay,
She said, I'll Uber her here, because it's a driving thing for her.
Yeah.
We will Uber her here if we have to.
That's perfect.
She's all in.
We have mass transit now. Just saying.
Yeah, so that's coming up, and Councilmember King?
For that meeting, I know I raised it before, and we don't typically put time limits around meetings, but I think that one being a little unique and having those two big items, I want everybody in the community to feel like they have an opportunity to speak and, but also to be concise with their thoughts. Maybe try to take some of the emotion out of it, but just everybody be able to.
And I'm going to try to announce
their
that,
time.
and we're going to try to run that as efficiently as possible, as with being as nice as possible. So Nick and I are going to be talking about how to do that, and so we're very aware of that. The city attorney?
Yes, thank you. Just to follow up on the 345 Taylor blight issue, I am aware of the paddle boat. In fact, asked the ordinance officers, the fire department, about that specifically, and that's not deemed to be blight.
Really?
I mean, people can have, it's behind a fence. It's not considered blight. But as far as if there's cats living under there, right now we do have a court order regarding blight for that. We did have court last week, or the week before. And so I will bring it to the fire department's attention to get access to there and see if that needs to be brought up, to be cleaned out if there are cats there.
Yeah.
But the paddle boat we did not require him to remove that.
Okay, and again, I don't want to turn this Q&A, but if there's an automobile that has deflated tires and clearly hasn't moved for several weeks or maybe even months, does that fall within our blight ordinance or no?
That particular vehicle is properly licensed.
Okay.
And is operable. We've checked that out. That was one of the things that we looked at, and that was one of the compliance things that
All right.
the neighbor complains about, and he's satisfied that it's properly licensed and it's operable.
Okay, no, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I do, I
You're
appreciate you following up with that.
You're welcome.
And the blight is always difficult.
Yes.
So without further ado, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody,
Okay,
for coming.
thanks.